Hey, welcome everybody to podcast number 67, brought to you by 5-Pin Universe. I'm your host, Kerry Kreitz. First of all, we'd just like to thank All-Star Bowling Sales once again for the month of June, helping us out and becoming a sponsor and providing a discount code for all those bowlers that want to buy anything related. Hot sales right now is those Darbster slip-on shoes for the house shoes, so people don't have to wear those dirty house shoes all the time. So watch the commercial and we'll bring in our guests. Hey, welcome guys. For all our guests and fans and audience, if you don't know who they are, top to your right is Adam Weber and the Wiseman twins, Tim and Dexter. Thanks guys for joining us again.
Hey.
Yo.
All right, so number 67, long time coming. We got another legend on our podcast, and we're can't be more happy for these guys joining us. He is a 2020 inductee into the C5 Hall of Fame. And he's won the Autumn Open in 1981 and a Masters singles title in 84. Doesn't look like a day after 84, I'll tell you that right now. We'll bring him in here. Mr. Doug Mosdell, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, guys. Thank you.
Good to see you, Doug.
Welcome, Doug.
Yeah, thank you. You too, guys. Looking forward to this.
So you hail from Coquitlam, BC, right?
Yes, we've lived there for 30 years now. Yep.
Awesome. So most of your bowling career, was it playing out of the same center in that area, or did you play in other centers around?
Actually, out here, we played in a lot of different centers. I actually grew up in Maple Ridge, just outside of town, and then did a lot of my bowling in Vancouver with the like an all-star men's league in there. Newest Minister, Port Moody, Surrey, wherever they would take me.
I'm sure that wasn't the case, but so our first topic will be being inducted into the C5 Hall of Fame. How was it? How did it feel to get that call?
To be honest, a little surprising. I was at the Open last year to watch Bruce and Diane and everybody be inducted, and Lynn. Lucky enough to actually been invited by Diane to be at the banquet, Diane Violini, which was quite the thrill. And sitting there and listening to the stats of the women that were inducted and knowing most of the stats. I actually remember driving home that night thinking to myself, well, I'm not ever getting in there. Not with the numbers that those people put up in the bar that was set. And then, to get the letter later on in like early September, I guess it was a bit of a shock, a nice shock, a shock.
Yeah, like obviously I'm not young or not old enough to play with you at any nationals or anything like that, but the stories hanging out with Bruce, Gino, Lynn, all those guys, they nothing but good things talking about you. So you were quite the person that left quite the impression on a lot of those great players. So I think it's only fitting that you join them in the same Hall of Fame.
They have raved about you for as long as I've known them. Like, truthfully, they have absolutely raved about you. And I got to see the inside scoop on like what your accolades were to be inducted into the Hall of Fame this week, and I don't think you give yourself enough credit. Your resume is pretty incredible. I know you don't have as many golds as maybe you were hoping for, but you're yeah. But just blame Lynn and Bruce for that. But I mean, your accolades are incredible, Doug. You're more than deserving of this for sure.
I mean, I'm fortunate enough. I can pull up actually your stats. I do have them here. I'm privy for that. I mean, 6 years participated at the Open, and you have unfortunately 6 silvers. But I mean, you look at it, you had a 71 winning percentage, and that's pretty damn good at an Open national level. And you follow that up with 4 all-star appearances, right? And you think about it, you're probably playing against the best in a tough part of the lineup. So you look at it, it's pretty astounding. And obviously, Doug, you do deserve to be there. So it's pretty cool how everything works there. You did deserve to be there. And to be honest with you, you actually had more points than Adam did. So, and Adam's won more golds and everything else like that. And to be honest with you, probably a better team player. I can attest to that too. So that should get some more points there too. So
I don't know if I'd go with the team player part. I watched Adam. He's pretty good. I'll say the one thing he shocked me with was the winning percentage. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I've never really. I don't keep any of my stats and stuff. I never have.
Mm-hmm.
Although I'll be honest, I think the first one Open, I'm pretty sure I was at 7 of them. But the first one was maybe before they started keeping track.
Yeah.
Hey Tim, you still have those stats up?
I can pull them up.
I'm curious at the the averages at the national level as well. I bet you they're 265 plus as well.
For which one are you looking for?
For Doug.
For Doug, obviously.
Doug's average at nationals is 263.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yours was actually
less than that.
We don't care, Tim.
No, it doesn't matter.
Let's move on.
Yeah, 258. Yeah, but yeah, Doug's is 263. Yeah.
Wow. How many of those nationals were you there as a singles rep, Doug?
Twice as singles rep. One year I was both singles and men's team.
That would make sense. Yeah, because you had 35 games bowled as a single, and then 74 games bowled as a team. So that would make some sense there then, for sure.
Yeah, the first one was actually way back in '79.
Okay.
And the oddity on that one is I didn't know until I actually got to the nationals, being as it was sponsored by a brewery. You're supposed to be 19 and I was only 18.
Oh.
So the team members just made me drink a lot. Nobody would notice.
Yeah.
And I think we got a bronze that year. And that was a mixed team event.
Yeah.
One less beer, that would have been another silver, Doug. I don't know.
Have you spent a fair amount of time coaching Mike Warren by chance?
No. I'm afraid to ask why.
Sorry?
I said I'm afraid to ask why.
No, you're both wonderful players with like a huge resume, but Mike in our time period has always been known as the guy who like should have won a ton of golds and just can't quite, So Mike might be right behind you for that Hall of Fame actually too. He's going to have quite a few there, Timmy.
Mike, I can pull up Mike's too actually because
quite a few points.
Yeah,
he has a lot of silvers. We know that.
Mike has a lot of silvers. Mike Warren has 7 silvers and 1 bronze. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that mixed team event, that was back when it was 7 players, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I think that would be really neat to get to play again. It's totally different now with like the 6-player format, but I think playing I haven't played that even, but I think a 7-player format would be super neat to play actually. Did you get 2 polls for that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah. You had 1 male, 1 female poll.
That's awesome, and you could use it in the same game. That's neat.
It's definitely a different format.
Yeah.
Created so much more dynamic for the coach. And I think the coach had more to do in a mixed team event than any other event that's out there within our sport back when it was 7 players. I know both my brother and my mom were both on a national winning team, and yeah, it was like the double switch all the time, and it would catch people off guard, and it is pretty cool to watch, actually.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. It's totally different.
Yeah, that'd be super neat.
So Doug, as we announced, you won the 1981 Autumn Open. How many of those tournaments did you play in? Did you travel quite a bit with Lynn and Bruce and those guys playing those tournaments, or was it you just decided one year you'd randomly show up at a few of these ones?
I went for a few years playing most of them. Like really just the Alberta ones. I could do Rose Bowl and do the Autumn Open. I only went to KG. I think I went to KG twice, and that was basically it. I didn't really travel to a lot of those. When I was younger, I did, and then you get into getting married, buying a house, having kids, that sort of stuff, and it was like, yeah, it's hard to justify, spending $1,000 to go to the prairies, not knowing that you're going to make money and have things to pay for. So we kind of got away from a little bit of that.
Right. Was there a lot of local tournaments that kind of ran around that time? I do believe, wasn't there a 100-game marathon or a 50-game marathon around that area too? Yeah,
the 50 was a little bit before my time. Thank you. There was a couple of 20s that were running out here. Port Moody ran a pretty big 20-game tournament. There was a few tournaments out here. There was a real good one in Kelowna for years in the summertime that a lot of the Alberta bowlers used to go to, the Ogopogo.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I know Lynn won that one year, I believe. Might have won it more than that before my time. But
I think Bev won that.
There's never been a lot of real money tournaments out this way.
Yeah.
What was the atmosphere? Sorry, Dad, what was the atmosphere like in those early days of the tournament? Say, like the early '80s of the Autumn Open, for example.
Oh, it was great. I mean, that was actually my favorite tournament, was the Autumn Open. It's just the whole format of the qualifying, and then actually the second qualifying, and then the whole match play idea. And, the 15 round robin, as you guys know. I love that one. Probably didn't love Rose Bowl and KG as much because I didn't do anything in them. I always liked Chinook. Chinook treated me well. That's where I won my Masters, was there.
Yeah.
Everybody seems to have that place where they just feel comfortable and at home, right? So, yeah, it's nice if you can go back there already with that good feeling.
Yeah, I mean, I was always comfortable there until Bruce came along and won it, 17 years in a row.
Well, Bruce and Frank too, right? So did you know Frank fairly well?
No, I've met Frank a couple of times, but I didn't know him really, really well. I knew him as a guy with a great sense of humor because we had a tournament in Rutland, just outside of Kelowna. And again, it was one of the qualifying, 8-game qualifying blocks, and then a match play tournament. And Frank wasn't bowling, but he was there to play the bowler investment seminar, as you guys like to call it now. And I can remember I needed a 1200. I needed 1200 my last 4 to make the cut, and went 400, 200, 400, 200. So Frank comes over and he buys me an investment seminar because he likes how consistent I am.
Oh, that's awesome.
Give yourself 1,200 on
it paid well
number.
for it. I came in 15. Yeah.
Hey, and you know what? 200 after a 400 really isn't a terrible game. Like, that's okay. That's a pretty good comeback, honestly.
It's still 600 double. That's okay, yeah.
I've seen Nick Utley do something much worse. What did Nick shoot that one time at TPC?
130?
Yeah, no, it was 119. It was like 410, 119,
400.
like 405.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's funny.
Yeah, you guys had a lot of characters out there at that time, though, Doug. You had like Wayne Davies out there too, and then a bunch of other guys you traveled with, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Wayne Davies really is the guy that taught me, showed me the way. I was lucky enough. I actually worked with Wayne for 15 years.
Okay.
So we were always together.
Who were some of the other bowlers that you would travel with?
Back then, let's see, from here, Larry Johnson was always with us. Jim Turner, Wayne, myself. Out of the interior, there was like Bert Griffin and Jack Murphy. It was a good crew, a real competitive group of guys. Really, really competitive.
A lot of them won the autumn.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you hear that? What was that? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, yeah, after you, buddy.
Oh no, so there's a bit of a lag that comes in here, and I'm missing you guys. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, and we always, when we go to those things, we would always pool our money in the Calcuttas together and stuff like that, and always have your own little group, as you guys know, in your doubles formats and that. It made for good traveling.
How was the money back then?
I'm trying to remember what paid when I won Chinook or the Autumn Open. Was it 3,500 maybe back then for first? And the Calcuttas were big. There was guys there that would travel just for the poker games in the Calcutta.
Mm-hmm.
That was sorry, we're probably not allowed to use that term anymore. The Bowler Investment Seminar.
You know, that's so far back, the government's not going to come after us for that one. We're good. We're good.
Yeah.
It's okay. I didn't make any money out of it.
You were kind of saying like a lot of the guys would come out just and play the Calcutta or the Bowlers Investment Seminar, as it's called now. Was that a big part of the game? Now it doesn't seem so much like it's like a big part anymore. There's still guys that will do some betting like that, but from the stories we hear, like KG and the Autumn Open, like that was the biggest part of the sport almost.
It was huge. Yeah, it was really big. It was a big deal. I mean, like I say, there was guys from out here. I can think of 2 or 3 off the top of my head. I don't think they've ever bowled a shift, but they were always there to bet on it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I think the year that I have no idea what guys sell for anymore, or get rented for, whatever. I think I went for 135 the year that I won it, and after that, it was never under $400 or $500.
Yeah. It depends on which tournament we're at these days. Like, $500, $600, I think is like pretty normal for like Calgary, really. Sometimes Red Deer, TPC is a little bit more, and then Regina is massive. The Calcutta and Regina is massive. There's a few
over $1,000.
Yeah, in Regina now. So it's gotten pretty big. That's where I still think that, like, I know it's a long ways away, and I know we've talked about this lots, but I really think that, like, we got to get the betting into the game legally for 5-pin, because if we can get outsiders betting on something they can view from at home, they will do that, and maybe we'll spark interest that way too. I would have never have cared to watch like darts ever, or like pool or poker if there wasn't the gambling involved in it, honestly. So, yeah.
I still can't watch darts, so it doesn't matter. I'll watch poker, but I'm not watching darts.
Yeah.
I've heard many stories about some of those poker games back at the Autumn Open. Were you ever involved in any of those?
Yeah, I was over on a little side table for $20. That's where we were.
Because there was hundreds, if not thousands, going on the main tables, right?
Well, yeah. When I won Chinook, or the Open, I can remember we went out for dinner and I came back and the hospitality suite was going. And within 5 minutes, I'd had 3 or 4 guys ask me if I could break $1,000 bills for them.
Oh.
And I'm like, and watching some of those guys playing cards was insane.
Okay, maybe I'm just piss poor, but I didn't even know $1,000 bills existed.
Not anymore. They used to.
That's crazy.
Yeah, not anymore.
No.
I couldn't even imagine
they're
walking around with those. I bet you Ken Black did, though.
Yeah, Blackie would.
For sure.
Blackie probably still has them.
Yeah. Oh, that's crazy.
No, there was guys there that would literally they wouldn't show up for the second shift or whatever because they'd played poker all night long and made enough more than they could possibly make bowling.
I'm pretty sure that's how Doug Clark won KG the one year too, wasn't it?
Well,
or he was at least playing the shift the next morning or whatever. He was
Doug played and he gambled and he typical. Doug played throughout the whole night, Saturday night, and then he promptly played all Sunday championship, and he won. So he didn't go to bed all night Saturday night, and he won Sunday. He tried that. He tried that in 2014 Olympics when Sochi was there. And we decided we went to the rack the night before, and we watched the hockey game the night before, and we made our own breakfast at the rack and everything. He tried to do the same thing, didn't work out. He was a little bit older then. Doug fell asleep. Yeah, real soon.
Yeah. The Jaeger didn't have the same effect.
Yeah, Jaeger didn't work.
So Doug, we do have a question here from the people watching. Were you ever able to throw a perfect game? And if you did, how many?
I've got one sanctioned one, a couple that don't count, and one sanctioned one.
And was the sanctioned one in a league or was it in a tournament?
It was in league, and you guys wouldn't understand. This is actually on wooden decks with wooden pins, free fall.
Wooden pins, definitely not.
Yeah.
All the new kids, there'd be no wood lanes left anymore.
Yeah, pretty well. But I would love to see the wood pins back. I heard nothing but good things about the way they reacted.
Yeah, no, it was totally different.
They did a study a number of years ago now, and the plastic pins are just same people throwing shots, but it was like the plastic pins. It was like 11% of the time the pins were still left on the deck when they were knocked over, and with the wood pins, it was like 45% of the time the wood pins would bounce around and stay on the pin deck, which to me just means better scoring, right? The more things you have laying around on the deck, the better chance you have of pushing things over. So I always thought it'd be super interesting to bring those back and see how they'd react these days.
Would those studies be more of a slower speed?
I don't know.
It depends. Some houses, yes. I always found with the wood pins on that, you really had to play a direct line. It didn't work for me to bend the ball much. It had to be almost on the nose. Unless after a while, though, I really learned to slow my shot down to try and carry in those places.
So that's a question that Tom Patterson just brought up here too. He said that you were incredible at changing speed, and how do you do that? Because honestly, for me, that's changing speeds drastically is definitely a challenge.
It's game over.
Yeah.
What, somebody said it's because I'm older?
No. Adam said that if he tried to slow down, that would be game over.
Okay, I feel better. And the fact that Tom Patterson said that makes me feel real good about it.
Absolutely.
No, that is something actually I worked really hard at learning how to do, was to slow myself down. Because I used to throw, I'm going to say probably close to speed to Adam. That was just the way it came out of my hand. I always threw hard. And then places like Kelowna or Ogopogo. For instance, I played in there one year, And you always, this is old school. You had your sheets on the desk, scorekeepers with you. And I remember bowling, I was having a rough tournament in there that I usually did. And throwing a 240 and having my scorekeeper look at me and go, well, that'll help you on the pins over average side. and I knew I had to find a better way to play that house. So, yeah, I worked really hard at what I just started calling my little puff ball, and it worked okay for me.
Did you have some like tricks to help you do that? Some cues that like really worked, or is it just slowed everything right down?
Exactly. It was, sorry, Dex. It was slowing everything down, like my foot speed, everything. My arm swing was, my back swing was probably only half of what it was, and just kind of letting it fall out almost.
Yeah, I imagine the backswing has got to be probably the biggest key to that, because, I mean, for me, the hardest part of trying to slow it down is still accelerating through the follow through, because you still got to be able to do that, right? So the backswing has got to be key for sure.
Yeah, like it's funny. I was listening to your podcast with Jim Head last night, and listening to him break some of the stuff down, and I'm laughing at myself, going, "Man, I'm not that technical."
Well,
that's me. That's me for sure.
Yeah, some people have to be, and some people don't. Like if you just have like a good control of your body and you understand what's going on, you don't have to be that technical, I guess, right? Mm-hmm. But some people have to be, and some people choose to be, and it doesn't work out to be. I don't know.
Yeah, both.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I would have to assume that the hardest part would definitely be that backswing, because especially now, like we're so trained to drive through the shot at the line that even if you have just a smaller backswing, you're still kind of missing the pendulum, because you're always going to try to finish the shot relatively hard anyways. Mm-hmm. So I guess probably the focus would be more on rolling the ball at that point, Doug?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I really had to concentrate on my release on my fingers and make sure that I was still, generating something out of it. But as long as it was an end over end generation rather than like a side, as long as the ball was rolling end over end as it went into the pins, I was fine.
That makes sense too.
How good do those like crack strikes sound on wooden pins? That like right on the nuts shot.
There's nothing better.
Yeah. Oh.
There's nothing better than that sound.
And we may never get it again.
That's when you turn around.
Yeah, that's when you turn around. You know what? Like yeah. I love the wood lanes, and now since we went synthetic, I'll never get that shot ever, even on plastic pins, right? And it's gonna kill me. Like I lived off of thick strikes for the longest time, and now we'll never able to get that. Adam, you lived off that too for a long time, thick strikes for a long time, and we'll never get that real big cruncher as much anymore on synthetic lanes. Yeah,
you just get the ball. You can hear just everything sort of roll out now. It's more of a rolling out rather than a crash.
Yeah. Everything just goes sideways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? So that same hit, I honestly still think you get the same reaction. You usually get the strike out of that same shot, but it doesn't sound the same. Like those crack strikes on old wood lanes. And the free fall. There's nothing better. Well, free fall, I'd still probably be in trouble, but I get aces on that.
Yeah, Adam, you might get that same sound. Nobody else in the country does.
Oh, there's a few. Actually, Sly probably gets probably as many as anybody that I've seen.
So much rotation.
Yeah, end over end.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. So, anybody have a next question before we get to some of our special guest stuff here?
Actually, you know what, Doug, Lynn actually did wanted me to bring up something for you. He came in on Friday. Lynn Howell wanted me to bring something up for you. He said it was like a memorable moment with you back in singles in Victoria. He mentioned that It was the only time you could remember that the Masters singles all got warnings in the event. You, Lenny, and Bruce. He wanted me to bring that up to you guys. Yeah.
Only the medalists got the warnings.
Yeah, he wanted me to bring that up to you guys. Yeah.
Bruce still doesn't think he deserved one. We brought this up last year when Len and Bruce and I got together at the Open. And Bruce still disputes it. He thinks he didn't deserve it.
Well, that's because Bruce could get away with absolutely everything. So then he doesn't get away with something one time.
He just has
exactly.
Smile.
He's like, no, he can't believe it was actually him.
So what was the warning for? What was the warning for?
Well, that's just it. I don't even remember what Bruce's was, or Len's for that matter. I know mine was warranted. I have no problem with that. I just for a while I actually had to wear glasses when I was bowling. And the problem was I found that they were really easy to pull off my face and throw them whenever I got upset. And the old benches, the way they were, not the individual ones they have now, the hard old benches. Yeah. Well, if you hit the bottom of those properly, the glasses would shoot up the back, and mine hit the judge of play.
Adam, from my understanding, they're like the old Bonnie Doon benches, like the ones that curve around.
Okay.
So they curved all the way around, right? Is that remembered, Doug? And then they and so
it's like slingshots it.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. And then here's Lenny. He said, "I got a warning for sitting down after a strike. An ashtray flew and landed on the floor."
I don't believe for a second you're actually that innocent, Len. There's no chance
for sitting down.
Yeah.
I remember the ashtray hitting the floor.
And if I remember correctly, I think Bruce hit the ball return. I think that's what happened. I think Bruce actually hit the ball return. Yeah.
But he'll tell you it was actually. But Bruce will tell you it was the guy on the other lane.
Yeah.
And I will believe him.
Probably, yeah, that's right. Bruce is a saint. What do you say?
But there was another question brought up, I think, earlier. Nick Perkins was asking, who was your favorite coach or teammate to be on a team with there, Doug?
Oh, boy. Well, my favorite coach, I've had a few of them, but probably my best friend, he was the best man at my wedding, a gentleman by the name of Barry Hampton, who's he was quite a good coach. He's passed away now. Had diabetes forever. Actually, I've probably disappointed a couple of other coaches now in a step ladder when they thought they were going into the pit with me, and I'm like, no. The last guy that was in the pit, maybe Barry, and nobody goes in again. Mm-hmm. Teammate, I mean, I grew up basically bowling with Wayne Davies. So, I mean, he'd be one of my favorites for sure. A guy I only got to bowl once with that you guys know very well is Matty Schultz. Mm-hmm. I thought the world of bowling with Matt. I would bowl on a team with him any day. I mean, I could list a whole bunch of other guys, but then again, I'm just going to piss off somebody I don't list.
Yeah. That's super neat that you would choose to not have a coach go down with you in the pit. That's unique and really kind of cool, and that's quite the honor for him, I would imagine.
I hope so. It's just sort of my little tribute. I mean, the last time I was down, in that situation, and I kind of looked at it and went, well, at my age now, if I need somebody down there to try and tell me what I'm doing, I shouldn't be down there.
Yeah, totally fair.
Mm-hmm. Probably could have told you to keep your glasses on, though.
Or caught them at least.
Yeah. Yeah. In the pit, there's words I know that you didn't think I knew.
True story, Doug. Dexter actually had his shoe caught by a coach once. It saved him from a judge of play. So
I've never had a warning. Never had a warning at any tournament ever. I'm pretty good for that. Anyways, we were at Four Steps Nationals in 2006, and I had these Dexter shoes. And we were going into it was the final day, and we were facing Northern Ontario. And so at this point, we have this match left, and then 3 games after that left. And we're fighting for anywhere between first and fourth. And I'm anchor, and I go up, and I think we're ahead by we're not ahead. I think we're down by 5. And I go up, and I throw the strike to start, and my heel comes off, and I slide about 6 inches past the foul line. So I got the strike, but I get the foul, and now I'm pretty pissed off because there was nothing I did. My heel came off. What am I gonna do? So I put this heel back on, and I take probably 3 more practice slides, make sure it's on there, good and solid. I'm okay, good to go. Grab a ball, throw another strike, but you throw it a little bit more aggressive because now you got the ball in your hand. Heel comes off again, 6 inches past the foul line. Final shot, same thing. I end up kicking the heel, took off my shoe, and just rifled it backwards. And it just so happened to be at the judge of play, who was she was difficult to deal with as it was throughout the tournament. But Cisco Byersberger was our coach, and just like a bat catcher, straight out caught it midair.
It was totally Happy Gilmore with the putter, like his caddy. It was totally like that.
Just
right?
grabs it.
Totally like that. Huh?
Yeah. That did end up costing us bronze. So, I was pretty pissed off. I even wrote Dexter Shoe Company immediately after, being like, "This is garbage. Fix your shit."
And they never wrote back.
They did. They said, "We're sorry. This is the first we ever heard of this problem."
Yeah.
And then the next year they came out with some solutions for it.
Yeah. I've received that response a few times too.
Yeah, exactly.
All BS.
Yeah.
All right. So, Doug, we got some special guest questions here. We're going to let Adam head it off for you. You don't have to answer the question if you don't want to, but we know everybody listening wants to hear your thoughts.
See you guys. Thank you. Bye.
And that's the end of the podcast.
Bring him back, Carrie. Bring him back.
Yeah.
Doug, who's your mentor / idol growing up? Or when you got
I think I'd have
into
to say, I'd have to say Wayne was my mentor, without a doubt. I mean, I started bowling with Wayne when I was 18, I think. At an all-star league in Vancouver, and funny thing is, in order to get to bowl down there, I needed a job at a school. And Bob Gaylor, who was a great bowler, his father owned a company. They were looking for a guy, so I'll work. That's where Wayne worked. So it's great. They got me a job so that I could bowl, and I kind of thought, well, I'll work here until I find real work. And I'm still working there. Wayne's retired. So he would definitely be my mentor. Idols. I don't know that I've, sat back and thought, gee whiz, I'd like to be like him. Don't tell Bruce that. He thinks I want to be like him, but Wayne just stands out in my mind.
Was there anybody's type of game that you were trying to emulate as you grew up? Not really. Like in Maple Ridge, where we grew up, there wasn't, we had our league, but there wasn't a whole lot until, like even in the YBC days and that, there really wasn't anybody for me to bowl with. Like I started bowling senior tournaments when I was 15 and just sort of caught on, got to meet guys like Wayne and Jim Turner and Bob Gaylor and all those guys. It was a whole group of them. And they all took me under their wing kind of thing and said, here, come with us. So it wasn't a matter of trying to emulate them. I guess in a way I was, but I never really thought about it like that. Oh, fair enough. Did you have a favorite event when you were playing?
Well, I mean, cash tournaments was always, like I say, the Autumn Open. And I guess the Ogopogo, just because of the summertime. A lot of the Alberta bowlers would come out to Kelowna. We'd bowl a couple of shifts. Saturday afternoon was always a round of golf up at Gallagher's Canyon. Back in the motel we stayed at had a great big courtyard. We'd all be barbecuing out there and that. It was just a fun tournament, even though the cash was pretty good. other than that, and my masters. I just always love bowling masters. Don't tell the Open that, but
you
they
already
know.
got into the Hall of Fame. You're good.
No take
I don't have that yet, so let's not go too far with it.
That's a good point. Yeah, 2021.
You look how serious Tim got there for a second. He just like all of a sudden he's like,
Yeah.
writing stuff down over there.
Wait, Tim just hit delete.
Did you have a toughest or most memorable match that you can think of?
Yeah, probably. It's funny because I've been watching some of the podcasts. I knew this one might be coming. Probably against Bruce, of course. I believe it was 91. I stand corrected because every time I say a year where we were somewhere, I get corrected. We weren't there that year. Whatever. It was in Victoria. The same year of the yellow cards with the three of us, and played Bruce in the final for the gold medal, which he got. But that's probably the one that I look back on a lot. I mean, after losing to Bruce, I had to take 2 years off of the game. So,
Really?
yeah. Well, it's funny. I got home and I remember telling my wife to show how close Bruce and I are. That night at the banquet, and I hadn't phoned home yet or anything else. So Bruce phones home to my house to tell Nancy that, yeah, Doug was pretty good today. I was just a little bit better. And of course, he would throw in, and he's over in the corner tanked, and I'll take care of him.
Mm-hmm.
That's like next level troll. I can't wait to beat Tim the next time and call Wendy.
My mother doesn't care about me. No, thank you.
All right, Scott. Then
When I got home from that one, I can remember I told my wife Nancy, I says, I'm going to take next year off, kind of thing, and she says, why? Because you lost? I'm like, no, because I lost, and it doesn't bother me that I lost. I just felt like I'd lost an edge. Not that losing to Bruce was losing an edge. I mean, the guy was definitely the best. So, but I wasn't seeing it properly, so I ended up taking 2 years off.
Yeah.
Lenny Anseth is chiming in here. He says he's still stinging from the 9-bagger he threw at him in the semi.
Yeah, well, does he mention that up until then he'd beat me 4 straight games, and then I was averaging about 208?
I think it stings a little bit more now that you mentioned that.
Doug, if only you can make him quit for us, we could have done us a huge favor.
Yeah.
I still can't believe Len sat down.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it. There's no way he sat down and that flipped out. There's no way. Absolutely no chance.
I've never seen the guy sit.
No, Len is high energy.
Yeah. He was running around in a circle or something and hit it. Guaranteed.
I don't remember. I would tell Len I was busy in my 9-bagger. I don't know what he was doing.
Love it. Love it.
He heard you.
That's a better troll.
Yeah, that's good.
What did you use for bowling equipment at that point?
It's funny. I thought you might ask me that. I have no idea, Adam. How's that for you?
Were you using house balls wherever you went?
No, actually, I ended up with I cannot for the life of me remember the make that I bought. And I had like one set of balls that that's all I ever used. I used to almost laugh at people. I'd walk in packing a container load of balls with them, averaging whatever, and it was always the ball's fault. It was like, oh, I got to change balls. Well, really? Throw one of them properly and it won't be an issue.
That's what I've been saying for years.
Yeah, except initially yours came from a ball change, Adam. You went to the Starlands, and all of a sudden things started working. You never went away from the Starlands.
Yeah,
But that
well,
ball change made a big difference to you.
I was winning with the other ones too, but these are just way more consistent. Love them, and they weren't mine, so I still apparently have to pay for those. But I think I don't know. The check's still in the mail to Joe Wood. So
yeah, they're gonna have to they're gonna force you to like change the initials on that at some point with everything going on in the world right now. What colors were they, Doug?
Sorry?
What colors were your balls?
Do you remember?
Sorry, what was that?
What
I won't go there yet.
I was like, they were sparkling and green. They were green,
solid black color ball with just no, they were solid black with a sparkle to them.
Yeah, Jackie.
They're old.
Jackie knows exactly what your balls look like. They were Starlines, Dougie. They were Starlines as well. There you go.
Really? Back then?
No, they're not Starlines.
No chance.
The Sparkles back then, yeah.
Starlines.
No?
Oh, wait.
No,
Don Sims says they're Electra.
There you
All
go.
right. Don Sim will know for sure. Electra.
There you go.
That's what they were.
Well, thanks for the help.
I would go upstairs. I could go check, but I'm pretty sure it's worn off by now.
Oh, that's good.
I am glad to go to Jackie Faustino.
Yeah, no, she was adamant.
Oh, that's funny. Now you're obviously not too into the game anymore, but was there anything that you may have missed on your bucket list?
Yeah, a team gold medal, big time.
I love that you specified team as well. That says a lot.
As in an open, you mean, or as a mixed, or which would you prefer?
No, I just
team. Yeah.
I would take an open men's, an open mixed, a masters men's, anything in a team that would set color at a national event.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying. I think it's great that you specify that you want a team gold medal, and you know you don't seem like an individualistic person at all. You seem like the team event is kind of where you want to be and thrive. Sorry?
I said my wife would argue that point.
That's the woman's job, isn't it?
And the fact he does have that singles victory in the Masters too, right? So
yeah,
makes sense.
Yeah, true enough. Yeah.
No, I know. Like the last one in 2010, which was my last year, and the gold was pretty much, it was in our hands to start the last day, and it slipped away. That stung for a long time.
Well, understandably,
yeah, that was in Sudbury, was it not?
10? No.
Yes. Yep.
10 was Sudbury,
and I'm pretty sure. In fact, it was that team in blue that beat me again.
I wasn't part of that team, but I think that was the Wilton and Perry Gillum and Tom Stevenson team, right? Yeah, Lynn was a coach, I think, right?
Lynn was coaching for sure.
Yeah, I remember them telling me that story. Right? It was tough. Yeah.
Doug, is there anybody that you didn't have a chance to play that if you could go back in time to play?
I would have loved to have. What was that?
Oh, sorry. I keep on forgetting. Mark
Johnstone said he was on that team.
Oh, yeah. Tim.
Sorry, Mark.
Oh, Tim.
If I could, maybe if I'd been around a bit earlier and been able to play against Frank Levine, would have been cool. Just because, I mean, the man, he's beyond a legend out here. Other than that, I think, I had my turns to play almost all the guys that I watched or grew up with, because I got in young enough to play all those guys and still hung around, long enough to play just before you guys. No, I got a chance, I guess, to play Adam, but not against you, I don't think, Adam. But we in Hamilton was the first time I saw you play.
Yeah, just not enough. I still wish I had like 5 years earlier to be able to play some of the, like yourself, and have the opportunity to play against like Bruce a little bit more and stuff like that. Five years. That's all I wanted. 5 more years, and to have television coverage back then as well. Those are the only two things
Yeah. I mean, what you guys are doing.
Go ahead, Doug. Sorry.
No, I said what you guys are doing now with the tour and the TV coverage and everything and showing this stuff, I think it's just phenomenal. Like I'm sitting back, same as I heard Bruce's, podcast. You're going, man, this is stuff that we wish we had 25 years ago.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, that's what we always heard from everybody is like, oh, I wish there was somebody doing a tour, or wish this was happening, and we just finally did it.
Yeah. In a baseball parking lot. So, yeah.
That's crazy.
So, sorry, Adam. So, you said you played against Adam in Hamilton. Was that for Masters as well?
Yeah, that we were in the match. I don't know whether Adam and I actually played against each other or not. I just remember that was the first time I saw Adam and Matt Schultz.
Yeah, Kerry was on that team as well.
Yeah, that would have been my rookie.
Oh, were you Kerry? Sorry.
Yeah.
No worries.
I remember I was one of the games earlier on that week, looking over at you guys throwing balls, and Larry Johnson was coaching us, and he kind of tapped me on the shoulder, and he looks at me and goes, "We're not playing the same game as those guys, are we?" I go, "No, that game left a long time ago."
Yeah. Yeah, that would have been me, Adam, Matt, Sean Smith, and Harvey Hoxa.
Yeah, with Giggy coaching.
Yeah. That wasn't a very good year.
That was the closest I've ever been. Going to the last match against Southern Ontario, I remember if we take 7, we win gold. We took 2 and finished 4th.
Oh.
It was crazy. Harvey's losing his mind because I don't think he had a medal at a national before that. So,
oh, that would hurt.
Yeah.
I don't think you were in the running, so I really don't
know. What's Lynn say there?
Lynn wants to know. Oh yeah. I'm not sure where BC finished that day.
Yeah, I don't think it matters.
Well, I'm trying to think who else was right in it. I want to say Quebec was right in it.
Saskatchewan.
There's a 4th team. Saski? Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm guessing Jim Head said it was a great year, so they must have won that year, I'm guessing.
It was, yes. Yeah. Jimmy was there.
Lynn wants to know, what is the most hamburgers you've ever had from McDonald's?
Oh yeah. That's a story from I think it was Kamloops. I had no idea that Lynn does not like to have somebody order any more food than he does. And we were the 3 of us, Lynn and Bruce and I, were in a McDonald's, and I'd ordered what I normally order. I don't remember what it was. And Bruce is always an instigator. He pokes Lynn and he goes, "What he ordered?" And Lynn takes that as a challenge, so he has to order more, and I order more, and I don't know. We probably spent $25 each at a McDonald's.
Back when burgers were a quarter.
Yeah. Bruce walks out with chicken nuggets, and Lynn and I can barely carry the bag of food we've got.
I'm guessing Lynn was done first.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, he didn't make it back to the ball.
So I got two more questions for you, Dougie. Do you have a kind of an obscure either stat or an achievement that many may not know about you?
Well, one that I bring up now, and I never paid attention to this until I heard Ron Sandnetz talking about it one day, about making it to a national event in 5 different decades. But I did that before my 50th birthday.
Huh.
What?
YBC?
Which, I think it's about 28 days before my 50th birthday. I got my 5th in 2010 in Sudbury.
Wow.
That's incredible.
My first one was 79. The first one was in 79 before I was old enough actually to be there.
That's crazy.
That's an incredible
That's my one odd stat.
Love it.
That's super neat. And
That's
that
why
just shows you how good you were for how long, right? And like dominant. Like obviously super good if you're making internationals in all those decades. That's really cool.
That's one of the reasons why I keep asking that question, right? Because there's always something that just it amazes me for when I hear it. I'm going to put that out on Facebook to see what else is out there. I'm going to do that to see what the population is. That's crazy, Doug. That's awesome.
Well, that's good. You got to do something to replace your lists.
What list?
Exactly.
And leave it to Big Daddy to be the guy to like know that stat too. There's a guy I miss from the game too right now. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Ron has got 5 decades in as well at nationals.
Yeah,
I think 2010 would have given it to him as well.
That's awesome. That's super cool.
Ron and I were Calgary rookies in Lethbridge for the Open the one year when he was playing in Calgary. And I got the French-made outfit. He did not.
I would love to see Ron try to rock that. Do you know who I am?
I would have paid to see that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And then last question that I've kind of got is obviously you've been around the game for a very, very long time. What type of improvements are still needed, or what can we help with as the bowling community to take this to another level?
Geez, Adam. See, now you're talking to a guy who hasn't been around for over 10 years, really. All I can go by is what I see in BC, and it's so sad out here. I mean, we're losing centers. We seem to be losing interest of the younger people. I mean, yeah, there's some good young players out there in Jordan Schuss and Marcus and a few of the other guys that are out there. But Matty Harms, Daryl Wood, but there doesn't seem to be a lot coming along, and there doesn't seem to be any help from the proprietor side of it, because out here right now it's like, well, the property value is this, I pay my taxes on this, well, I think I've made it and I'm done. And we're losing centers all the time. There's ones now that we depend on that I know are up for sale. So I'm afraid of where BC is even going to be in 5 years.
Yeah.
What you guys are doing, and what I hear, like, I think Newfoundland's running some sort of a tour now, and you've got the Ontario guys, are great. It's like at the Rockies, it sort of picks up on that side, but it's sure dead on this side. Mm-hmm. So I don't know the answer to your question, how to help. I'm sorry, I really don't know.
It's hard when property values are like through the roof out there too, right? I mean, they've owned these buildings for how long, and then all of a sudden they're worth like $10 million. Like it's crazy, and like that's I totally understand, because that's retirement money for people. And who's gonna buy the business when the property values that much? Who's got that coin just laying around, right? losing Langley, losing Willowbrook was a big loss, and seeing Scottsdale up for sale is difficult. And then you just lost Old Orchard, and I know Cloverdale has switched hands how many times at this point, and
North Shore closed, right? North Shore
yeah.
is closing, right? So
North Shore, I believe, just about done.
Yeah, I read that. And isn't Poco, isn't one of the centers being bought by the city and then being used or being torn down or something being used? Like, so yeah. So
yeah, the city's going to be basically rebuilding it just down the street, and then the family, as I understand, is going to be leasing that from Poco. So there will still be a center there.
Mm-hmm. And Poco is one of the bigger ones out there now, right? Like Chilliwack's it's not well kept right now, right? And just I really feel out there, like honestly, like just an outsider looking in, it's just the community out there is not very embracing right now, I don't think, and it's tough, right? And like I see Okanagan doing okay, I see the island doing okay. But you down there, and Doug, maybe you can attest, but the zones down there, you used to have 2 or 3 zones down in the Lower Mainland. You could really only have one now, right? Yeah, you only have one now, right? Really, I mean, enough for one zone, right?
Yeah, I mean, they still run 3 zones, but it's not like you've got an abundance of people showing up. Like we as last I checked, I mean, they're not even able to fill the men's, ladies, and a mixed team.
Yeah. Basically, your zones. Sorry.
No, our zones. I mean, my time, you'd show up and you'd have 40 men, 40 ladies show up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's hard, and the unfortunate side is like it's hard to say. It's hard to get anybody to open a new center out there too. I just don't know how that's even possible these days with property values being as expensive as they are. That's such a huge upfront cost. Putting all it in, and then you got to commit yourself to being into that business for a long time, and then to try to keep your prices at a point where people are going to be coming in. It's a challenge. I could see it being an absolute challenge.
And the few that have opened up, and not recently, but let's say in the last 10 or 12 years, they opened up, but they opened up as for lack of a better word, play centers.
Yeah,
it's the lights and the smoke and everything else, and it's not geared towards league bowling or anything like that. And the competitive end of it, well, that's a waste because you just can't fill those leagues.
Well, yeah, and honestly, that's centers around the country, really. New centers, anyways. You can be absolutely committed to furthering the game while still running it as an entertainment facility. I think Nebs is obviously like the template for that, but it's the most. It gives you the best opportunity to survive, I think, offering more than just bowling, unfortunately.
Oh, you've got to have both, or you're not going to make any money.
Yeah, for sure.
So we kind of mentioned like the sport struggling, not only in BC. We all know it's struggling across Canada. The professional side has kind of picked up here the last little bit, but attendance is definitely going down across the board. And one suggestion somebody had mentioned is, do you put a showcase on teams more than singles, and if that would help things out? So we'll kind of go around the horn on this one. I guess I'll chime in first. My thought process is there's already 2 national team events. You can always add another one maybe on the tour side of things. But you look at, there's a lot of solo sports out there with singles that are doing fantastic. Look at golf. Look at, you could say darts. You could say there's sports out there that people watch that are singles as well. So I don't know if a team would make it more watchable or it adds a different factor to it. That's for sure.
Quite frankly, we need the Masters as well as the Open on TV. Like the Open stepladder is probably as intense of a scenario that you're going to find in our game, especially in a team event. And that's the type of an event that would draw people into our sport. Unfortunately, we can't even get much for video during the actual competition, right? It's very, very tough. And we've talked about it a few times before that it's just not feasible for many proprietors and stuff like that to get the Wi-Fi and all that stuff. I get that. But if we could get that type of a team event onto even a semi-global platform, I think we would do really well in getting our sport to another level just by that.
I don't think you'd have to even worry about the Wi-Fi and the live streaming of that. If we want to have something like that, I think that would be something else that we could, have professional production of and have, better filming of, and then releasing that as, a solid hour-long episode of something.
5-pin universe. 5-pin universe.
Yeah, exactly. I think that I would go wayside with the Wi-Fi. I mean, you could stream it then too if you wanted, but I think if you want to put it onto like a global a video thing, I think the professional production is definitely the way to go.
Do you guys think that that the people will watch an hour-long team event like that?
I mean, I used to watch 6-hour cricket matches. So, yeah, I absolutely.
I think if you are invested in what you're invested in, I think yes, I think you would be. I think another team event, I don't think so. Right? I think if we televise what we got in team events, yes. Right? I think
or like a league situation where you have all these WCBT members drafting a team and playing.
That would be different. That would be different. But I'm thinking, as for another team event, I don't think so. If you had WCBT, Kerry, if you had the Thursday before, and you had the league on that Thursday before, right? Perfect. Yes. Televise it. We can run something that Thursday before for each event. I'm not a problem with that. But adding another event in the schedule, I don't know if you would be able to do it. I don't think, right? So, I think if you're televising like the open step ladder or something like that, I think if people were invested in it, there's for sure. I mean, heck, we have people. How many live people watching live stream for qualifying on a heritage, traditional, or TPC? My grandparents, Doug, this is crazy. My 80-year-old grandparents, whether Dexter and I are not qualifying, they go in their computer room. They have one computer set up over here, and they have one other one set up over here. They have their ice cream and their popcorn. They have their 2 coffees, and they sit there for 16 hours watching bowling.
Yeah, no joke.
And they call us, and they're like, "Hey, are you guys bowling?" And I was like, "Grandma, I'm not bowling today." He's like, "Okay, well, let's watch these people bowl." And I was like, "You guys are crazy. Why are you doing this?" It's like we like watching bowling. I was like, "Okay, well, you do you, and we'll let you know for bowling Sunday." Like,
right? They have a personal connection as well with many of the players that are coming down to the TBC. So
for sure, but it's crazy though.
That's a big difference.
It's crazy. Yes, it's awesome, but it's crazy. I mean, it's crazy. But they enjoy it, right? And then that's a lot of the people. So if you have that piqued interest, I think people would watch it.
Yeah, I think it's a lot easier to do this stuff like on live streaming, because unfortunately some of these events aren't built for television, right? Like Autumn Open is prime example. It's 15 games around match play round robin, but there's no step ladder. There's no way you're going to know where the champion is going to be unless they're leading by extraordinary amounts. Then you could follow them, but it's not built for TV. Live streaming, it works. You can kind of move it around, follow it, but building a production around it is going to be pretty tough. And I think Masters has the same problem. They don't have a step ladder finish, right? For a team side of things. So if these events could get television forward and prepare themselves to have something that could be produced and published, that would make a lot more sense. But
if you're going to go with TV, you've got to have a step ladder. I mean, that's what 10-pin learned 50 years ago.
Yeah.
The only way they could make it work on TV was that stepladder finish.
Mm-hmm.
Stepladder or bracket system. It's not something that the viewers can follow along into a finalization of an event.
Yeah.
So I do want to touch point with this, Nathan. You said, how the heck, since I'm not going to swear, it's cornhole on TV and not 5-pin bowling.
You're afraid of saying hell?
Yeah.
Well, no,
everything else you put on here.
I've changed after my apology a few times ago. So,
Which one?
anyway, so from my understanding, Nathan, how it worked was TSN was brought on by the proprietors. Proprietors paid through their lane bed fees and through their dues to pay to have TSN on television. Okay. So after a while, they had to cut something, and that, because obviously money was going and they needed to cut something. So that's how TSN got cut. So TSN never came to bowling and said, hey, I want to put you guys on television. It was more or less, hey, can you put us on TV? Here's all our money we want to put you on. This is how much it's going to cost you to put us on TV. And that's how it came to be. With CBC, somebody knew that somebody on CBC who bowled and was a big a lover of the game, and that had worked with the background of it, and a broadcaster, or somebody in the background, they pushed it to be on CBC. He retired. Obviously, when they made cuts, bowling was the first cut because he wasn't there, right? So that's how bowling got off television. Somebody retired. Somebody didn't want to pay anymore. It just kind of that's how it kind of worked out. So when it comes to curling and cornhole, when you have sponsorship or when you have a lot of money to throw that way to put it on television, it makes it a little bit easier to have it on TV, right? So that's where, when we say you guys want to have it on television, if you guys want to share stuff and comment, and we can have algorithms to show people and make it attractive to people, the sponsor. That's how we do it. So that's sort of a download of how TSN CBC kind of came to light there. All right.
And I almost had a nap through that.
Sorry. But you know what?
I could have bowled a game through that conversation.
You know what? I bet Tim probably loved it though. So okay, so let's just let that go.
It all comes down to money. It's all funding.
Yes.
And the money's got to come from somewhere. The television production, they charge through the nose. And I know the last time we did end up getting it on CBC was that Sports Day in Canada down in Calgary. And I don't even know what year that was, like 2012, 11 or 12, I think 11, I want to say.
Something like that.
BC Nationals, right?
Yeah,
you're all-star,
yeah. And if I remember the numbers correctly, I heard it cost like C5 like $80,000 to get that event on to that particular show.
We just need more Cheerio campaigns and we'll be fine.
It was huge. It was huge amount. Yeah.
2011, Adam.
Yeah, but and I got to assume that when we did have TSNs and CBCs, we had those sponsorships like Hiram Walker, and I'm sure there's probably smoke companies back in the day as well that were involved, and none of that stuff goes on TV anymore, right? So until we have another sponsor that comes in that takes the interest in the game, I don't know.
I think Judy Baker up here is right too. She says you need the characters. You need to be people, not celebrity, or they need to be people, not celebrities. I totally agree. You need to have the characters. That's what really drove darts as well. You see the guys come out with their flashing mohawks and stuff. I think if we allowed hats at the tour, it'd be way better. I piqued Carrie's attention.
No, you didn't.
But I think if we were to ever do like post-production of like a stepladder final or anything like that, I think it'd be awesome if we did have some people with like major personality to like do the commentary. I just started watching Holy Moly. I don't know if anybody's watched it yet, but it's like extreme. Yeah, you have it. Yeah, it's extreme mini golf, and they have what's his name, Rob Riddle.
Rob Riggle.
Yeah,
Riggle. Oh yeah.
And I like the guy. I think he's hilarious. I think stuff like that, you get somebody like Len Anseth on there, chirping at people. I think we need something like that too. We need to have some entertainment and some like humor in it, so that people that don't even understand our game can still be entertained.
Len with a mohawk.
Oh man, like he could grow one now. I mean, I'm no better, but like, oh, that'd be great.
Well, we could get a fake one. We could get a fake one made up for Len.
I heard a story about Len last week where they were playing lawn darts and he almost took a lawn dart into his head. That's probably the closest thing to a mohawk you'll ever have.
Crickets. Well,
whatever.
but I think there's been a big push over the last couple of years, because we asked all of our guests kind of that same question. Okay, what's the sport missing, right? And they bring up okay, well, we need to really promote the stars in the game, promote some of the characters of our game, and I still think from a national level that's missing, right? So if we do really truly want to get this back onto that type of a level, well, that's got to come right from the top as well, right?
Yeah. Well, when the Nationals are going on, for lack of a better word, they're going on in obscurity. Nobody, like when they were out here last year, other than the bowlers, who knows they're here?
Yeah.
There's nothing out there. There's, even the local TV, they're not, as far as I know, they're not contacted. Nobody's out there checking it out. The last time I mean, back 30 years ago, and it would always be Calgary, where we always had some TV coverage.
Yeah. Well, like for the WCBT, before we go to every event, we send out emails to all the broadcasters and everything in that city to hopefully draw some attention. And Regina has been kind of the most successful at that. They at least take a couple interviews with some players from that area and stuff like that. But it's hard. It's hard to get these news outlets, actually the major news outlets like the Globals and stuff like that, to pay attention to a sport that they don't pay attention to otherwise besides that day, right?
Years ago, when the Nationals were out here in Vancouver, and a friend of ours contacted Global about some sort of coverage for this, and basically she was told, when you can fill Rogers Arena with people watching it, we'll pay attention. Yeah. That was the response we got.
That's horrible.
Unless you know somebody.
Yeah. It was terrible.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, no. We've been fortunate on Edmonton. I do get a little bit of hit back on some stuff after so many years of getting that, but
I think we're gaining some traction for TPC this year. We finally got the Chamber of Sherwood Park really like interested and committed into what we're doing for TPC, and I think with us partnering up with like Nietzsche's Pizza and Marty next door for the flower shop, who is the head of the Chamber of Commerce. They're both very committed to having TPC at least some sort of coverage. So hopefully with COVID and everything that's gone on with that, hopefully that still comes true. But I mean, what better time to put something on TV at this point, really?
Well, like Doug kind of hit on earlier, you go to these national events in any of the provinces, and who shows up that isn't a bowler? The mayor shows up for opening ceremonies to wish them good luck, and that's it. You don't see another city person, any of that. And it's like a 4 or 5 day event. Like, this is going on for a long time. Most times it's taking up place in 3 different centers in that city. Those people are staying in hotels. They're supporting the local economy. Yeah.
You might get a few of the local people, and I'll say it may not sound nice. Some of the senior citizens and that come in to watch.
100%.
But you don't get young people coming in to watch it. They're just wandering in off to, bowling's in town. Let's go have a look. Nobody comes.
I'll tell you a story here, Doug. We had a very eventful TPC one year. It was really interesting. We were we were just running the tournament. And the next thing I know, Mark Miller comes up to me and goes, "Milos Raonic is in your lounge." And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, Milos Raonic is in your lounge." I'm like, "You're full of shit." He's like, "No, go take a look." Sure enough, you go around the corner. Milos Raonic is in our lounge. We're like, "What is happening?" He was dating one of the bowler's cousins or whatever, and he just randomly showed up to this tournament to come check it out. Super weird. Like maybe 5 hours later, 3-4 random guys off the street come into the bowling alley. What's going on? We have this major tournament going on. Can we stick around and watch? Sure, absolutely. So they drank a bunch of beer. They knew Derek Gall somehow. I think it was work related or something. Stuck around, watched bowling, drank a beer. Next thing I know, I go to the back to start setting up the bowling investment seminar, and I hear yelling, and I come out, and these guys had like ran all the way down the lanes in between somebody's shots, slid into the pins, turned around, ran back out, ran out the back door, and we never saw him again. So maybe we should keep a closed door. That was the one experience around. Yeah. If we could have caught that on TV, we would have got some viewership for sure. But it was an interesting day, man. It was really weird.
Hey, Doug, did you have any questions for us or any stories you want to share?
No, not really. I'll be honest. I wasn't thinking about questions for you guys. I said I just being asked to do this was such a as Jim found out, I'm like, I don't know about this. Just being so far removed. But I know what you guys are doing. Adam, I've been lucky you and I've met a few times now. So when I knew that you were on it, I'll go on there. Then I can talk to Adam.
Yeah.
I guarantee I'm loving this more than anybody, Doug.
When I'm pretty sure Adam, when he sees me now in the lanes, he starts thinking I should go in the other direction because I'm there. He thinks I'm stalking him now because I'm always coming over and saying hi.
More than welcome.
It's only because I don't recognize anybody else.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So good, Doug. Oh.
I know. If I could say one thing before we go, and this is going to be off the bowling topic.
For sure.
You guys know a lot of my background, medical wise. If I could ask one favor of the people that are watching or listening, and that's if you're not a blood donor or an organ donor now, please register. It keeps sad sacks like me alive. And that's just my little plug for the night. And I wasn't sure I wanted to do that, but you guys are such good guys. I know you don't think you'll mind me just throwing that out there.
No, I think it's incredible. Your whole story that you went through and what you've battled through is incredible. And I think that's a great PSA to throw out there. You don't need your body when you go.
No.
Right? Give somebody else a chance, right? I absolutely agree.
No, you really don't. Like you say, I mean, I'm pretty sure when you're gone, it's not that painful when they take the parts out. I can attest that it's painful when they put them back in. And then the other one is, of course, the bone marrow registry is so advanced from years ago. That used to be quite the painful procedure. It's not anymore. It's like a blood transfusion. And that's another one that not enough people sign up for. I know it's out there.
That's great to know. That's great to know because honestly, my understanding of it was that it is incredibly painful. That's all I've ever known. So that's great to know that it isn't anymore for sure.
They've changed the procedure now a lot. Like it used to be a bone marrow transfusion. Now it's more of a stem cell. I mean, the gal that's getting it is going to go through some discomfort when they go after your bone marrow. But it's a stem cell transplant now. So basically, when you're donating, They're taking out of one arm, they're running it through a machine, putting it back in your other arm, and they're just drawing out the self. It's totally different than years ago.
Huh.
So there's your little bit of knowledge for the night.
Fantastic.
No,
I appreciate that.
As long-
Now,
Yeah.
there's going to be some doctor watching, and it's going to come up in a minute going, he's full of shit.
No, that's kind of interesting that you bring that up. Obviously, going through your medical history and stuff like that, and that's something proud that the WCBT and all these guys were part of is help donate to the Karen Peel on Organ Donor Foundation. So that's already in the forefront for the professional side of things, and I think it's a great help that you mention it. Obviously, most of the people watching tonight were viewing for you, so they've been nothing but showing the love for you and asking everybody to donate blood and organs as well. So,
Well, from one who's obviously taken advantage of that situation, thank you, gentlemen. That knowing that you guys do that's awesome.
perfect. Well, I can't think of a better note to end this on. Doug, we can't thank you more than enough to join us and share your thoughts and your little quips throughout the podcast. And hopefully Bruce eventually hears this at some point and he realizes that you really didn't care for him all those years. So.
I can't believe he called your wife.
Yeah.
Adam, I've had calls on New Year's Eve where Nancy's been on the phone for 15, 20 minutes, and then she'll say, Bruce said Happy New Year.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Hey, perfect. Well, thank you very much, Doug. Thanks, guys, for joining us again.
Thank you, Doug.
We'll
Very
talk after,
appreciated.
Thanks so much,
Pleasure.
Doug.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Doug.
Take
Thank you
care.
very much.